Hey everybody, awesome win by the New Orleans Saints. It was much needed because they were stirring at 1-4, and wow, you have to say it was a great team effort win because the simple fact of the matter is that the Saints are banged up. They had some defensive issues. There were wide receivers like Chris Olave had to leave because of concussion. Andy Dalton wasn't throwing with a needed zip. And, simple fact of the matter is that Taysom Hill came through in his role. And I think there's a desire to confuse that. Taysom Hill is tight end. And he had he had 10 touches, 112 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, and 1 passing, okay? And the passing was a surprise, all right, because he is listed as tight end, all right? And there's a reason. That experiment of him being quarterback was tried, and it didn't work because he has a tendency to throw in such a way that his balls are consistently late. And he's gotten better at getting zip on the ball, and that was clear last year. But then just when you think, yeah, I think he can do it, he makes a mistake like throws the ball to a defensive end on a screen, okay? Or, well, you get the idea. All you have to do is review the videos. They're all out there for analysis. So, meanwhile, you have Jameis Winston, who is unquestionably a better passer, Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, okay? But for reasons that are essentially racist, you have people paying for the manufacture of a large number of troll accounts, many of them created between 2020 and this year. I identify 3 alone that were making troll comments that focused on the idea that Jameis should sit and that Andy Dalton was better. In other words, basically just anti-Jameis. So then you check the age of the accounts and you find that they're brand new. And then where those accounts that are the troll accounts, you would think, pay attention to the Saints. You read their tweets and realize that they'll have 25 tweets that have nothing to do with football at all. In fact, if you go through their entire list of tweets for the year, all of a sudden, there's no football. All of a sudden, they pay attention to the Saints. Now, where did that come from? All right? That's troll stuff. Someone's paying to do this. And I keep saying that and saying that and saying that. And I'm going to keep saying it until it stops. Even then, I'm going to keep pointing it out because what has to be determined is who's paying to do this and why. Jameis Winston has been the focus of negative comments since he came to the Buccaneers, even during Florida State. But it really increased after the whole Erica Kinsman problem, all right? And folks, here's a news flash, all right, for those of you still stuck on Erica Kinsman. Erica Kinsman and her boyfriend Jamal Roberts basically gamed the system and got $1 million. There was never a rape at all. She took advantage of John Thune as being her attorney, and then her auntie and racist auntie Patricia Carroll, who said that her niece hadn't been sleeping with the black boys, and she slept with 2 in the space of far less than a day. Jamal Roberts and Jameis Winston. Now she's married to Jamal Roberts. So what they did, and they said, hey, look, Jamal Roberts can't talk. He refuses to say anything. Well, imagine if he did. And that question was out there. All right. So she got away with murder. Okay. She got away with murder. Literally. The murder of Jameis Winston's image to get money. And this has gone on and on and on, and the Saints have let it go on, and the Buccaneers let it go on, and it's got to stop. Because it's producing a lot of fake news and fake ideas. So, for example, on Twitter, have you seen a picture of Jameis Winston celebrating after Taysom's fantastic 69-yard run? No, it was on television. All right, the Saints put it right out there though. Good for the Saints. They said great teammate. All right, but the fans should do that. And instead, we have troll accounts doing this stuff. When you see those accounts, when you see those negatives about Jameis, check the receipts. In other words, check the age of the account. More than likely, it was either created this year or 2021 or 2020, and then check the tweets. Because if they're not about the Saints, then the question is, where are they from? I spotted two that, even though one was made in 2011 and the other was 2019, they both had all Giants stuff on them. And all of a sudden, they just shifted over out of the blue and made a comment about the Saints. That's weird, you'd think. But it's not. It's deliberate. It's political. And the idea, keep in mind, we have an election coming up in November. This is a midterm election year. And the idea, started by the Trump administration in 2016, was to hire social media organizations that specialized in seeding social media sites and webs, and the interwebs, as they say, with comments that would produce divisions between black and white. All right? That's deliberate, folks. And they picked Jameis as part of that because why? Erica Kinsman's white. If Erica Kinsman had been black, you wouldn't see that. That's how screwed up things are. And yet, Erica Kinsman married a black guy. So now, guess what? You don't hear about Erica Kinsman as much. In fact, what black guy did she marry? The same black guy that she was dating when she went up and went after Jameis at Potbelly's in Jacksonville at the bar. Truth, okay? So, the fact of the matter is this. The Saints have Jameis Winston as starter, Andy Dalton as backup, Taysom Hill as tight end or U-back. And it's a great combination that wins. The real problem of the Saints is their defense. And when the Saints get to a point where they can stop people on defense again, and what they need to do, I think, is go back to less blitzing, less taking chances, and more just keeping people in front of them, all right? Because when they take chances on defense, they've given up a lot of big plays. They've given up a ton of big plays, so the Saints really need to focus on their defense. I will tell you, offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships. I repeat, offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships. Jameis Winston starter, Andy Dalton backup, Taysom Hill U-back, tight end. That's a great combination of offense. You've got Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram. You got to get back Olave and Michael Thomas, okay? So you get them back and you start playing. Look what they did with Dalton. Keep in mind, and with Andy Dalton, the Saints used a short passing game. They could do the same thing with Jameis Winston. They did it with Taysom Hill, but you know what happened? Taysom was even then throwing interceptions. People get in love. They fall in love with Taysom Hill when he runs. And then they think, okay, if he makes one good pass, maybe he can start. And he's not that material. He is your Swiss Army knife, your switchblade. That's his contribution. He'll tell you that. Jameis will tell you that. The team will tell you that. Stop trying to divide the team. All right, knock it off. And those of you who own these troll accounts, why don't you just, turn around and admit when you're being paid to do this sort of thing? In fact, the Federal Trade Commission ought to step in and stop this kind of stuff, because if you're being paid, that's actually a form of false advertisement. You know? That stuff is absolutely ridiculous. Because you're trying to fix society, you're telling a false narrative, you're giving an idea that there's division where there is none. That ought to be against the law, and people who are doing it ought to be thrown in jail. That's how I feel about it. Subscribe to Zinni62 and bookmark OaklandNewsNowBlog.com.